Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to unravel a story that, well, it really brings to light the hidden complexities and the dark secrets that can sometimes lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. We're exploring the tragic journey of Jessica Patel. She was a woman who really just sought a happy, conventional family life, only to uncover a truly chilling reality about the man she married.
And what we'll explore here really goes beyond just the crime itself. It's a profound look at how manipulation operates, the immense weight of societal pressures, and the devastating ripple effect of, well, concealed identities. We'll trace the timeline of a relationship that seemed to start with such promise and then just terrifyingly came undone.
Yeah. Our insights today, they come from some really meticulous investigations into the case. We're drawing from police reports, heartfelt family testimonies, and some pretty shocking digital evidence, too. We'll unpack this piece by piece so you can truly understand the depths of this story. And maybe it might even prompt you to question what we perceive as normal in relationships. Okay, so let's start by introducing you to Jessica Patel. She was born in 1983, a British woman of Indian descent, grew up as the eldest daughter in a large, supportive, joint family, 12 people, living together in Leeds, West Yorkshire.
Right, and they weren't wealthy, but comfortable, very close-knit.
Exactly. Her siblings described her as kind, compassionate, someone who would never retaliate, even if someone harmed her. Apparently, she loved watching Bollywood movies with her family.
And it seems clear that Jessica's upbringing really ingrained in her this deep desire for a traditional, stable family life, marriage, kids, a secure home. This aspiration, while completely natural, tragically became a key vulnerability that, well, Mitesh would later exploit.
Yeah, and Jessica was highly educated too. Graduated from Manchester University, degree in pharmacy, became a successful pharmacist. It was actually during her studies that she reconnected with a childhood friend and neighbor, Mitesh Patel. He was 3 years older, also studying pharmacy.
So they had this history, knew each other as kids, lost touch, then reunited at university.
Right, became quite close.
This reconnection after years apart, it often highlights a fascinating psychological element. People can sometimes project an idealized version of someone from their past onto who they are now. It can create this immediate sense of comfort and trust, makes it harder to spot a facade later on. Mitesh likely, leveraged this pre-existing familiarity.
That makes sense. So after they both graduated and Mitesh started his career, Jessica actually had to put her own career on hold for a bit. Her mother was battling cancer and she needed to care for her. When her mother sadly passed away, Mitesh reached out, offered support. And that act of kindness, it really rekindled their relationship. By 2008, after nearly 2 years of dating, Jessica introduced Mitesh to her family.
And you just have to imagine Jessica's emotional state after losing her mother like that. Mitesh re-entering her life right then, offering comfort, perceived loyalty. That would have been incredibly powerful. It likely forged a bond that's really difficult to break, even when red flags start appearing later.
Definitely. And what happened next was, well, quite telling. On that very first meeting with her family, Mitesh asked Jessica's father for her hand in marriage.
Wow, straight away.
Yeah. Her father was hesitant. They'd only really known Mitesh as a couple for a short time. But Jessica's strong feelings for him and his apparent support during her grief, it ultimately swayed her dad. She apparently really emphasized how supportive Mitesh had been.
Understandable, given the circumstances.
So, June 2009, they had this joyous wedding in Jessica's family garden. A big, significant Hindu ceremony, quite costly too. It really seemed like the perfect start to her dream life. For the first month or two, everything appeared idyllic, perfect even. But then, Mitesh's behavior shifted dramatically.
How so?
He became controlling, seemed to just lose interest in Jessica. She apparently initially thought, maybe this is just how married life is, or how other couples behave.
The rapid transformation in his behavior right after marriage, it's actually a classic indicator of coercive control. That intense initial phase, the love bombing, it's often designed to secure commitment. Then it gives way to immediate isolation and control once the person feels trapped. It probably wasn't sudden disinterest, but more like a calculated progression in his long-term plan.
That's chilling.
Yeah.
So 10 months into their marriage, Jessica realized something deeply unsettling. Mitesh hadn't touched her. Not once.
10 months?
Yeah. No intimacy, no physical connection at all, which is, incredibly strange for newlyweds. Then, in February 2010, her beloved grandfather fell seriously ill. Jessica, who was usually so devoted to her family, she only visited him briefly, didn't stay overnight. Her family was perplexed. thought she seemed detached.
But that behavior wasn't detachment, was it?
Yeah.
It points directly to Mitesh's escalating control. We find out later he actually forbade Jessica from staying with her family. He even slapped her when she asked to stay. This wasn't just a lack of intimacy. It was the start of physical and emotional abuse, clearly designed to isolate her from her support system.
God, that's awful. And as if that wasn't enough, Mitesh started spreading these bizarre lies. Told his family, colleagues, that Jessica was pregnant with twins.
Twins.
Yeah. And later, that she'd miscarried. Jessica was completely baffled. She knew perfectly well there'd been no intimacy for her to even conceive. She just couldn't figure out why he was making up these elaborate stories. So by 2012, Jessica's family really noticed she looked unhappy. Gaunt, even. They confronted her, asked her what was wrong, and she did open up a bit about her unhappiness in the marriage, wondering if maybe she wasn't attractive to Mitesh anymore. But she couldn't bring herself to reveal the deepest secret. Partly, it seems, because of the stigma of divorce within their Hindu culture. It could bring shame on her family.
And that highlights the immense pressure of cultural expectations that can sometimes be placed on individuals, doesn't it? That desire to preserve the family reputation, it can regrettably trap someone in an absolutely unbearable situation. Makes an honest discussion about marital problems incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
Right. So the family sensed there was more going on. Jessica's younger sister, Mina, she pressed Jessica privately. Took her into a room alone, apparently. And Jessica finally broke down. She confessed she'd secretly checked Mitesh's phone. She was expecting, to find messages with another woman.
But that's not what she found.
No. Instead, she found evidence that Mitesh was in a sexual relationship with another man. Nude photos exchanged, the whole thing.
Wow.
So Jessica had been forced to live with this knowledge, pretending she knew nothing.
That revelation, it just fundamentally reshapes our understanding of everything Mitesh had done before. The lack of intimacy, the control, the fake pregnancies. It wasn't about disinterest in her. It was about masking his true identity, his desires. He needed a cover story.
Exactly. So the family then arranged a meeting with Mitesh's family to discuss the marital problems. But tellingly, the bombshell Mitesh's secret gay relationship, it was never brought up.
They didn't mention it.
No. Instead, Jessica was subtly blamed and shamed by Mitesh's family, implying she was a bad wife, that she'd failed to keep her husband interested.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, they're basically saying, if a wife is good, why would a husband not pay attention? It must have been incredibly isolating and humiliating for her. Left her even more alone with this huge secret. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit to 2017. Mitesh, he'd saved some money, decided to open his own pharmacy up in Middlesbrough, and he insisted they move there.
And his reason?
He claimed he didn't like Jessica's family interfering in their marriage, found them intrusive. Jessica, ever the optimist, apparently hoped the move might provide a fresh start, maybe improve their relationship. She saw it as a chance for them to, adjust to life together in a new place.
Jessica's persistent hope, despite everything she'd already been through, it's just heartbreaking. It really speaks to the human capacity for optimism, even in really dire circumstances. She kept believing a change of environment could somehow heal things, still completely unaware of the true depths of Mitesh's actual plans.
Yeah. So Mitesh then expressed a desire to have children with Jessica.
After everything?
Yes. This led to some rare instances of intimacy after the move. But when natural conception didn't happen, Mitesh suggested in vitro fertilization, IVF. Jessica agreed. She deeply wanted a child. She even asked Mitesh, do you truly love me? Seeking reassurance before taking such a big step.
And what did he say?
He told her, if I didn't love you, why would I stay with you? We would have broken up long ago if I didn't want to build a family.
Wow. That exchange is just chillingly manipulative. He expertly preyed on her deepest desire for a family, using her own hopes against her. And what's even more disturbing is finding out later that Mitesh was actively taking medication to reduce his own sperm count.
No way.
Yes. This wasn't a genuine attempt to have a baby. It was a deliberate act to make sure IVF was necessary. It allowed him to avoid intimacy with Jessica while keeping up this pretense of wanting a family.
That's just evil. So Jessica endured 4 grueling rounds of IVF. The process was incredibly demanding, physically, emotionally, but she persevered. She was so proud to have 3 viable embryos after the last round proved successful. She shared her joy with her family, friends, was really looking forward to finally being a mother.
And she had no idea.
No idea. She's just a means to an end in his horrific plan. Okay, so now we get to May 14th, 2018. Around 8:20 p.m., Mitesh Patel makes this panic 999 emergency call. He tells the operator his house has been robbed, his wife attacked, claims he just got back home, he'd gone out to buy dinner, pick up his laptop from work, and found the house ransacked, Jessica unconscious, face covered in tape.
And how did she sound?
Distraught, crying hysterically, but crucially, still managed to give remarkably clear details. The operator even noted that, given how upset he seemed.
Right. So, crucially, Mitesh immediately started creating this false impression. His performance as the concerned, distraught husband was absolutely critical for setting up his false narrative from the very beginning. That precision in his distress signal, it points to a chilling degree of calculation.
Yeah. So as the police raced to the scene, Mitesh stayed on the line with the operator. She tried to calm him down. He told her he'd removed the tape from Jessica's mouth, but she was still motionless. Then, shortly before the officers arrived, the operator heard Mitesh just scream inconsolably, "Jess, no, you have to wake up, the police are coming." He sounded like a man completely losing his mind, devastated. But when the police arrived, it was too late. Jessica was dead, found on the bedroom floor of their ransacked home.
And Mitesh.
He was right beside her, still wailing. Jessica's family arrived quickly after being notified. Her sister Mina tried to comfort Mitesh, told him not to blame himself. Mitesh just kept lamenting, saying he should have been there, he should have protected her. Even Jessica's father, Jay, expressed disbelief to the media later, saying his daughter would never resist a robber. He held Mitesh's hand in shared grief at the scene. It was just a heartbreaking scene for everyone there. So, while the scene initially suggested a robbery may be gone wrong, police quickly began their meticulous investigation. First thing, no signs of forced entry, no break-in at the house at all.
Big red flag.
Huge. CCTV footage only showed Mitesh and Jessica entering and exiting the property that day. That immediately raised suspicion.
And this is just a fundamental principle of criminal investigation, isn't it? If there's no forced entry, the perpetrator is almost always someone known to the victim, someone inside the house. The focus shifts immediately from an outside intruder to Mitesh himself.
Exactly. Then the post-mortem results delivered the first major blow to Mitesh's story.
What did they find?
Jessica had died before Mitesh supposedly left the house to buy dinner.
Completely contradicting his timeline.
Completely. And CCTV footage backed this up. It showed Mitesh at the pizza place, acting totally normal, even chatting casually with the staff, all while Jessica was already dead back at home.
That forensic detail, the time of death, it's a classic indicator of premeditation. He tried to create an alibi, but the medical examiners pinned down the time, placing him squarely at the scene during the critical window. It directly implicated him.
Right. Unpacking this further, the police then took a really deep dive into Mitesh's digital footprint, his search history.
Oh, I bet this was revealing.
Unbelievably. It revealed this chilling pattern going back 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. He had searched for phrases like, "Can I hire a hitman in England?" "How to plan a wife's murder?" "How to use insulin overdose?"
Insulin.
Yes. And even, "How to arrange a funeral for a Hindu woman who was murdered." He was also searching for new addresses in Australia. Like, he was planning a swift exit after some kind of mission was complete.
The sheer audacity, the chilling long-term planning revealed by those searches. It's what truly sets this case apart. This wasn't some crime of passion. It was a meticulously calculated, cold-blooded plot that was literally years in the making. It points to a profound level of psychopathy.
Absolutely. And more evidence just kept mounting. Jessica's phone, her health app, the pedometer. It showed it only moved a short distance from the house after her estimated time of death, then stopped.
Suggesting he just threw it nearby.
Exactly. Just tossed it nearby to make it look like part of a robbery. Plus, one of Mitesh's pharmacy colleagues reported seeing scratch marks on Mitesh's neck and face the day of the murder.
And his explanation?
Vague. Says a gym accident, something about lifting weights, but the physical evidence ultimately sealed his fate. DNA from Mitesh was found under Jessica's fingernails. Clear sign of a struggle.
She fought back.
She did. A Tesco shopping bag, just a plastic grocery bag with Mitesh's DNA, was found near her body. Police believe that was the murder weapon.
Used to suffocate her.
Possibly to cover her head or strangle her, yes. And maybe the most damning piece. 4 used insulin syringes were found hidden at Mitesh's pharmacy.
And the connection.
Plastic wrappers from those exact types of syringes were found at the crime scene itself, in the house.
Oh.
So police deduced that insulin was likely used first to incapacitate Jessica, cause her blood sugar to plummet into a hypoglycemic state, dangerously low sugar levels, followed by suffocation, probably with the bag. They estimated he spent about 20 minutes committing the act.
Wow. The combination of the digital forensics and the physical evidence, it just paints this undeniable picture of Mitesh's guilt and the extreme premeditation. The use of insulin, a pharmacist's tool to incapacitate her first, it speaks to this calculated, almost clinical approach to murder.
Yeah. So with the evidence overwhelmingly pointing straight at Mitesh, the police obviously looked for the motive. The first, most obvious one was financial. Jessica had a life insurance policy worth approximately 990 million Thai baht, which is, roughly 2 million British pounds?
Yeah, about 2 million pounds, which is significant, certainly. And financial gain is a common motive in many cases. But as we've seen, what they uncovered next revealed something far more complex and, frankly, profoundly disturbing at the core of this whole tragedy.
And here it is, the truly horrifying truth the investigation uncovered. Mitesh had been in a long-term, secret gay relationship with a doctor named Amit. He'd met him on Grindr, the LGBTQ+ dating app.
And this wasn't recent.
No. This relationship had begun before Mitesh even married Jessica.
Before, wow.
Yeah, they'd exchanged loving messages, seemed deeply committed to each other.
This just eliminates the sheer scale of the double life Mitesh was living. Driven, perhaps, by this overwhelming fear of societal disapproval, especially within his cultural context regarding his sexuality. It really highlights the immense pressure some individuals face, which can, regrettably, lead them to take extreme measures to maintain that traditional facade.
So the ultimate plan. It was monstrous. Mitesh wanted Jessica to bear him a child through IVF.
Using her.
Exactly. Once she had given birth, he intended to murder her, take the child, and move to Australia to start a new life with Amit. He'd even, as we know now, deliberately taken medication to lower his own sperm count to ensure IVF was the only option, avoiding any physical intimacy with Jessica throughout their marriage, turning her into nothing more than a tool for his twisted scheme. He planned to just abandon her body, take the baby, and live happily ever after with Amit.
That level of calculated cruelty, it's almost unfathomable, isn't it? It speaks to a complete dehumanization of Jessica, reducing her to just a biological incubator for his future life with another man. The IVF wasn't an attempt to start a family with her, it was purely a means to acquire a child from her, after which she would simply be eliminated.
It's just sickening. Despite all this overwhelming evidence, Mitesh Patel never confessed to the murder, never admitted anything. However, based on the meticulous reconstruction of events, the mountain of evidence, he was arrested and brought to trial in December 2018.
And what's particularly chilling from the reports is the complete lack of remorse Mitesh displayed in court. He apparently listened to the verdict with just a blank expression, showed no emotion at all, which only compounded the immense pain for Jessica's grieving family. It really indicates a deeply pathological detachment from his horrific actions.
Yeah. The court sentenced Mitesh Patel to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 30 years before he's eligible for parole.
And Amit, the boyfriend.
Amit was not charged. Police determined there was insufficient evidence to prove he was involved in, or even aware of, the murder plot itself. This whole tragic story just left Jessica's family utterly heartbroken. They'd initially rejoiced at the news of her potential pregnancy, those 3 viable embryos, only for that joy to be completely shattered by the horrific discovery of her husband's betrayal and murder.
This case, it really forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about how far individuals might go to conceal their true identities or desires, especially when cultural or societal expectations feel too overwhelming to defy openly. And it leaves us with that unsettling question: why couldn't he just divorce her? Beyond the financial gain, that fear of family dishonor, the fear of exposing his sexuality, it likely played a significant and ultimately monstrous role in his decision to murder rather than just leave.
The story of Jessica Patel is just truly devastating. It reveals layers upon layers of deception, a chilling premeditation that stretched back years. It's such a stark reminder of the secrets people can hide, even from those supposedly closest to them.
Yeah, and this deep dive really highlights the profound impact secrets can have, whether they're personal or societal, on individual lives. It forces us to consider the devastating consequences when manipulation hides behind the most convincing facades, and the critical importance, really, of looking beyond the surface of what just appears to be.
As you reflect on Jessica's story, perhaps you're left wondering, like we are, what kind of pressures, what kind of internal state could possibly lead someone down such an incredibly dark path? Choosing such unimaginable violence over an honest, albeit maybe difficult, truth. That's all for this deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this difficult journey today. We really encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to the Horror Docs channel for more deep dives into fascinating and sometimes, like today, deeply tragic topics. Until next time, keep digging deeper.